This all started as a way to help my mum keep her identity through chemo. She didn't want to lose her hair, not for vanity reasons, but because she wanted to choose who she shared her diagnosis with, and she didn't want the grandchildren being worried and scared when she was bald. She was, like everyone, offered cold capping and wigs, but cold capping didn't seem right for her. It seemed too intense, too harsh, and she was already feeling quite fragile. And then we looked at wigs. Now, there's a situation with wigs where you can go for the cheaper wigs, or the really expensive wigs, or wigs made out of your own hair, and we looked at all these options. The cheaper wigs really didn't suit her. They're made of cheap material, they were uncomfortable, and they just were unconvincing and didn't look like her. Then we looked at real hair wigs. We were all willing to club together to pay for that. But it didn't seem to work. It didn't look like her real colouring. It was a lot more glam than she naturally is, and she just wanted to feel like herself. Plus, wigs are notoriously uncomfortable and hot and itchy to wear. And then we looked at what it would take to make a wig out of her own hair. But it takes twice as much hair as you have on your head to make a real hair wig for some reason. And it takes a long, long time to be made. And so she would have to walk around bald for 3 months anyway. And that's what she was trying to avoid. And that's when we came up with this idea, the idea of hats of joy. So this is what we did. We spent a lot of time researching how to make hair extensions. We spent a lot of time researching glues, sewing techniques and comfortable materials. And then she very bravely volunteered for us to cut off her hair before she started her chemo treatment. Although this was a big and scary step, the great thing is she was in control. She got to decide how and when and where. As you can see in these photos, this is what we did. We bunched up her hair and we cut it, but we didn't cut it too short. We didn't have to do any dramatic shaving. As you can see in the middle photograph, she had a really nice haircut for the time that she still had hair. And then together, we made her hair usable. Then as you can see, we attached it to a hat, but it was a really lightweight, comfortable hat. Now, as you can see in this photograph, I was using a sewing machine, but actually, in hindsight, the sewing machine was quite difficult and we recommend doing it by hand. And this was the result. Without the hat on, the picture on the left, a really nice, short, but not too short haircut. And the picture on the right, Mum looking just as she had before, with maybe a little bit of length taken off. 3 weeks later, and she completely lost all of her hair, and you can see now the difference. As you can see when you look at my mum's hair, it's not pristine and preened, and that's why she wanted to keep her own hair, because the pristine and preened wigs just didn't look like her, didn't feel like her. But also being bald like that really didn't feel like her either. Mum was lucky enough to go to a wedding when she was going through treatment, and you can see the difference here. She went to a wedding and many people didn't even know she had cancer. In fact, people were saying to her how well she looked. Had she had gone looking like she does on the photo on the left, though she looks beautiful, you can tell she has cancer. And then the other photograph on the right, you can see it's up to her who she tells. Here's another example of her in 2 different hats. This is a hat that Mum wears quite often, just when she's out and about, gardening, going shopping. And again, in one photograph, she wears her diagnosis, and in the other one, she has a choice. The great thing about this is it's an underhat, a very thin underhat that we attach the hair to. So Mum was able to wear any type of hat or headscarf that she liked. It was great in the winter and the autumn, but also in the summer. This is Mum on her last day of treatment, ringing the bell. We would have never made Hats of Joy a public thing at all, but it was Mum's oncologist, her surgeon and her nursing team that really urged her to make this available. In 30 years of his profession, her oncologist had never seen someone do this, and it seems so obvious and so simple. So what's come out of this is we put together a video course. A video course where you can follow step by step through the process. And what I remind people again and again is that you're saving hair. It feels really scary if you're the person cutting the hair off. I was terrified, but then I reminded myself that would just end up down the sink in 3 weeks' time. So I may as well save it. And then if it looks awful or is uncomfortable or I mess up the stitching, it doesn't matter because I've tried. You'll see in the instructional videos, I'm a terrible sewer. But I still managed to make this hat for Mum, and the confidence and the joy, hence the name, Hats of Joy, that it has given her has been so worth it, and I'm so glad that I dare give it a go. This is what the video course looks like. It's really clear step-by-step bits, and it shows you every step of the way.